Swinburne University of Technology.
The academic procession is about to enter the hall. Would you please stand? Please remain standing for the national anthem. The words are on the inside back cover of your program. Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the presiding officer of today's ceremony, Mr. Bill Scales, AO, Chancellor of Swinburne University of Technology.
Members of the University Council, members of staff, distinguished guests, very importantly, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I welcome every one of you to this important graduation and award conferral ceremony, which acknowledges the achievements of so many of you and which represents such a significant step in your process of lifelong learning. As a mark of respect to Australia's Indigenous people, Swinburne University of Technology acknowledges the Wurundjeri people as traditional custodians of the land where we now meet to conduct this most important ceremony. On the occasion of this ceremony, the Council and staff wish to share their pride and their congratulations with the graduates on their achievement. For all of us, this is a very special occasion. For the graduates, it means the culmination of years of study, hard work and achievement. For the parents, families and friends of the graduates, it means that all the sacrifices which you have made and all of the support which you have given to these graduates has now finally been rewarded. I am absolutely sure that you, just like us, feel a great sense of pride and happiness in seeing your friend or your family member succeed in this most important way. We are, of course, pleased that so many of you have been able to come and attend to make this such an important occasion for our graduates. For the teaching and administrative staff of the university, there is enormous satisfaction in seeing our students successfully complete their studies. It's what we do, it's what we believe in, it's for most of us what we actually live for. So for us, this is an incredibly important occasion, as it is for you. This is also an important occasion for the university. Swinburne prides itself in the quality of the teaching and learning which it provides. This wonderful celebration gives public recognition of Swinburne's ongoing commitment to provide our students with a range of high-quality educational qualifications. These qualifications will assist them in making an ongoing contribution, certainly to their chosen profession, but very importantly for Swinburne, also for their chosen community. Swinburne is committed to being a national, but importantly, also an internationally recognised institution where our programs are relevant to the world community as well as to Australia. We're committed to this goal because increasingly, and graduates, I can tell you that you will be no exception to this rule. Increasingly, our graduates are required to work outside of Australia, and many of you, probably most of you, will establish very successful international careers. It is now with great pleasure that I introduced Dr. Doug Mitchell to deliver today's occasional address. Dr. Mitchell was raised in Melbourne. He attended Box Hill Technical School and later studied chemistry at Swinburne and at the University of Melbourne. He later received a PhD in chemistry for his work on instrumentation for the measurement of metal levels in water. After graduating, Doug worked as a medical and environmental researcher, holding positions including Laboratory Director at the New York State Department of Health and Associate Professor of Toxicology at the State University of New York. In 1986, he changed career directions and founded CCA Capital Management, an investment company which use mathematical models to calculate trends and risks in investing. In 2003, Doug returned to the field of medicine, focusing on the development and delivery of new therapies for treating various forms of cancer. This has been very successful, and he is now chairman of a startup biotechnology company in Melbourne and director of a similar company in China. Both are delivering massively improved cancer treatment. A committed philanthropist, Doug contributes to a variety of causes, including a school in Troy, New York, the Melba Foundation, which produces records of mainly Australian musicians, and Opera Australia, where he has sponsored 5 productions. Doug was appointed to the office of Chancellor of Swinburne University of Technology in 2002, a position he held for 3 years. Doug was awarded by the university the most prestigious title of Doctor of the University Honoris Causa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I invite Dr. Douglas Mitchell to deliver today's occasional address.
Chancellor Scales, members of the University Council, members of academic staff, distinguished guests, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. Well, graduands, we're here to celebrate your achievement in graduating. You've obeyed what I call the second law of life. The first law of life is to be alive, and the second law of life says that now that we're alive, we should do something worthwhile. And you have most certainly done something worthwhile. You've worked and you've achieved something very useful, and this doesn't happen every day. You deserve to be recognised for this. Recognition lifts our spirits and confirms that we're on the right track. I think it was Shakespeare who said that life is not a rehearsal. We're on stage all the time, and we should make the most of it. And that's what you're doing, and that's what I hope you continue to do. Just to make a side observation, you might think that that comment about the first law of life being alive is a trivial observation. It sort of comes from the investing world. When you get around to investing your hard-earned money, if you make 100% on your money, that's wonderful. If you lose 100%, you're no longer alive, at least in investing terms. The good news about graduating is it usually opens up new opportunities in your working life. The bad news is that you have to prove yourself all over again. Employers regard a qualification as an entrance ticket to your job. It helps to get you through the door, but now you have to prove that you're worth the very considerable amount of time and expense involved in employing you. I've been involved in all sides of the employment issue. I was a new graduate. I've been an employee, a manager, small business owner, and employer. So I think I'm qualified to make a few suggestions on that, and I will proceed to do so. If you haven't worked at a serious job before, I'd like to tell you what your first job is going to be. You're going to be working in product development and sales. The product you'll be developing is you. You mightn't like to think of yourself as a product, but we're all products. Apart from being human beings, we're costs, we're hopefully assets, and doubtless a few other things as well. What you have to do is apply the skills that you already have and develop new skills to do your new job. I clearly remember that when I first graduated, I thought I was a genius. But when I got my first serious job, no one noticed. And rightly so. As far as they were concerned, I was an unproven quantity. And it took me quite a while before I thought I was valuable to an employer. The other part of your job is sales. And the product you have to sell is yourself. Your boss and your co-workers will be watching, and you need to achieve, and then in a modest way, make sure people know that what you're achieving. There's a very funny man called Archibald Putt, and he wrote a series of laws to help us move up the career ladder. And one of his laws was, your maximum rate of promotion is achieved with a performance level just above the level at which you get fired. Now, he's being funny, but what he means is if you do a terrible job, you get fired. If you do a wonderful job and no one knows about it, the boss might think that the job was so easy that anyone could do it. You've got to remember that the boss and your fellow workers may not know much about what you're doing and may not be able to judge how well you're doing unless you point it out to them. The best way to do the job is to make sure that people know what you're achieving as you go along. Call on the bosses and co-workers' assistance as necessary. Talk to your colleagues, help them, let them know what you're achieving. Putt's point, of course, is that you need to communicate, and you sure do. A second vital characteristic of our working lives is integrity. This is absolutely vital. I've employed a lot of people, and I got very, very tired of dealing with people who lacked integrity. You can be very, very sure that employers are trying very hard to avoid hiring the morally handicapped. As an example of this, I support a private school in the United States. The students and the supporting church are about 90% African American, a socially somewhat disadvantaged group. I know a lot of these people, and a lot of them aren't very smart, but they all seem to get jobs, and for very good reason. They have integrity. If one of them applied for a job with me, I know that he or she would put in an honest day's work, wouldn't be stealing the paper clips, wouldn't spend all day talking on the telephone, and would not come to work with a hangover or on drugs. This sort of integrity is a very, very good start. If they can do the job, they get it. People who lack integrity are like some nasty medical procedures. Someone else can have them. So integrity is an asset right at the top of the list. Another asset is tolerance. Tolerance of other types of personalities around. In particular, we need to get on with people who are quite different from us. There's an American management guru called Adizes, and he told us that we all have some combination of 4 personal characteristics. Entrepreneurs, that's people with lots of new ideas. Producers, people who get things done. Administrators, people who organize things well. Integrators, people who are good at keeping people happy and working together as a coherent group. The problem is that we tend to like people just like ourselves and less like the other types of people. We need them. The classic conflict is between entrepreneurs and administrators. The entrepreneur thinks the administrator is preventing the full flowering of his genius. The administrator thinks the entrepreneur is disturbing his well-ordered life. Both may well be true, but we have to respect the other person's point of view. The entrepreneur cannot be allowed to spend the company into bankruptcy with exciting but impractical ideas. The administrator cannot be allowed to stifle innovation. Oops, got my pages out of order. Just related to that, there's a few other things that we should remember. Just because we don't like someone, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. Just because you have an excellent education doesn't mean that you're right. All that it means is you have a poor excuse when you're wrong. Just because lots of people believe something doesn't mean it's true. And just because doing something makes you feel comfortable doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. Oops, I've lost a page. The next thing I was going to talk about was scientific method. Scientific method is an absolutely wonderful technique for approaching various problems. I noticed that we have a few scientists in the room. Scientific method is all about reality, what is actually going on. It's based on observations. Scientists use those observations to formulate theory, but if the theory doesn't agree with the observations, the theories will eventually get booted out. What we have to do in our working lives is we have to concentrate on the reality of the situation, whatever it is. We have to concentrate on the facts. A classic example of lack of scientific method is the current debate about global warming. You're all familiar with the argument that we're producing carbon dioxide, methane, etc., and causing the world to get too hot. I will not tell you my opinion about global warming, but I will tell you what I think is wrong with the way that many people have been addressing the issue. First, it's very clear that some people have been lying about the facts. This is dumb. Once we get caught lying, we lose credibility. We never want to lose our credibility. We have to look at the facts, whatever they are, and whether or not we like them, and base our actions on those facts. Secondly, preventing global warming is not the primary goal. The primary goal is to keep the world alive and inhabitable for a long time. We may well do a marvellous job with global warming, but the world could still be in serious trouble. In a recent issue of New Scientist, there's an article called "The Earth's 9 Lives." The author identified 9 problems which could seriously damage the Earth. 3 of those were critical, and climate change was one of them. Another one of the critical issues was species extinction. Apparently, the current rate of species extinction is about 100 million per year. I find that hard to believe, but that's what they said. The third critical issue is we're taking too much nitrogen out of the air and putting it into the soil. This acidifies the soil and eventually kills off lakes and areas of the sea. So, being scientific, we have to consider all of these problems and not just global warming. And having identified these risks, we need to ask ourselves what we're willing to pay to reduce those risks. So far, we've paid a lot, a very large amount of money, plus an estimate I saw that using foods as biofuels has put 100 million more people into poverty. So I'm not going to tell you what I think we should do, but the consequences of what we do and what we don't do are so enormous, we have to make every effort to do the best possible thing. Finally, I'd like to quote a philosopher that you have never heard of, called Abraham. When we have problems in life, the question always arises as to who is to blame. Is it some evil person in society, our relatives, our friends, our country, the world? Or could it possibly be a result of our own actions? Abraham tells us that we attract our experiences to ourselves. To repeat that, we attract our experiences to ourselves. If we have good experiences, it's because we attracted them. If we had bad experiences, we also attracted them. There's a tremendous amount of truth in this. Another way of saying it is that we get what we deserve. Some people go through life with lots of good experiences and few bad experiences. Other people mess up their lives. To give an example, we attract our friends. If our friends are an admirable bunch of people, I think we're on the right track. If our friends are fairly marginal, we probably aren't. So what I'd like to suggest to you all is that you go out into your working lives with the intention of attracting a lot of positive experiences. Take Abraham's advice, attract to yourself the type of experiences, career, partners, friends and colleagues that you'd like to have. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mitchell, thank you very much for your insightful comments to our graduates today. And on behalf of the University, would you please accept this small token of our appreciation? I now call upon Mr. Graham Kidd, Associate Director of Student Operations, to verify that the graduates listed in the program are in fact eligible to receive their awards.
Chancellor, I have the honour to inform you that in accordance with Statute 13 of Swinburne University of Technology, the graduates who will be presented at this ceremony or who have applied to have their award conferred in absentia have fulfilled the conditions prescribed and are entitled to the award of bachelor degree, graduate certificate, graduate diploma and master degree as appropriate of Swinburne University of Technology.
Could I now ask all of the graduates to please rise for the conferral of awards? Graduates and all here present, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Council of Swinburne University of Technology, I admit the duly authorised graduates here present and in absentia to the appropriate awards and to the rights and privileges of those awards Well done, congratulations. Please let me be the first to say it. Well done, terrific. Thanks, graduates. Please be seated. I now call upon Professor Russell Crawford, the Dean of the Faculty of Life and Social Sciences, to present his graduates.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you the graduates on whom you have conferred an award. For the Bachelor of Health Science in Public and Environmental Health, Vinotri Gautam. Bethany Kate Ham. Leo Morales. Mawahib Musa. Suhia Musa. Rasi Prum. Amanda Kirsty Turner. Androniki Varelius. Yahia Bakalovic. Chinto Joseph Anto Chiraev. Su Yen Liu. Nin Nichol Matthews. Dandan Shan. For the Bachelor of Multimedia in Business Marketing, Narul Ain Abdal Aziz. Fikri Fareza Afif. Jessica Marie Anticaglia. Timothy Charles Costello. Curtis David Delaharpe. Carly Simone Deretich. Luke Dalen. Jessica Eliza Harrison. Gavin John Hayes. Kiani Amanda Matthews McNeil. Mayur Mohan. Timothy Mukaibo. Vinh Quang Nguyen. Dalia Zipporah Schneider. Laura Michelle Simmons. Alyssa Chantel Simpson. Tanisha Suma. Gabriella Tuma. Christopher George Wills. For the Bachelor of Multimedia in Games and Interactivity and the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Software Engineering, Michael Benjamin Blackney. Aaron Gregory Brown. Alexander Michael Bruce. Robert Cano. Matthew William Chamberlain. Alan Daniel Malcolm Cole. Leonardi Juhari. Grant Evan Fowler. Andrew James Glover. Benjamin Neil Ingerfield. Anson Ching Chuan Kwan. Stephen Graham Mander Jones. Gregory James Nicholas Matthews. George McKibben. Jack Francis Smith. Samuel Sutrisno. For the Bachelor of Multimedia in Media Studies, Chloe Susan Aitken. Pulath Manjita Chandrajit. Setha Chow Manivong. Hannah Beth Coleman. Anna Christine Loritz. Christopher Dean Murgatroyd. Kylie Renee Pekolj. Amelia Gabriella Pike. For the Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and Chemistry, Noella Vella. For the Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences, Sarah Elizabeth Atwood. Lin Tran Thuy Doan. Rachel Claire McConnell. Kain Thinza Soa. For the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology, Jane Lee Ng. For the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology and the Bachelor of Business, Nicholas Hugh Hill. For the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology and Biochemistry, Kirtikuma Baraktuma Patel. For the Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Psychophysiology, Sarah Jane Annevelt. Melanie Marie Ashton. Emily Ray Bunnett. Anne-Marie Emma Carey. Jodie Lee Clark. Amy Yu Kyung Ko. Candice Maria Concesio. Catherine Helen Cox. Leila Mary Daphna. Monica Farag. Erin Fogg. Iman Hamza. Rory James Knight Sadler. Isabel Louisa Kowalik. Emma Vivienne Laporte. Mek Sin Lee. Samuel Levy. Scott James Linford. Claire Miraid McMullen. Corinne Susan Moore. Elise Marie Lorna Morris. Rosemarie Alison Pearl. Simone Peters. Kate Margaret Phillipson. Rochelle Ann Pinto. Francis K. Pitts. Georgina Sormiadis. Alicia Ann Randall. Katrina Ann Rushworth. Stephanie Lisa Scott. Monique Amy Seymour. Jessica Erin Snays. Electra Stathopoulos. Jing Yi Tan. Victoria Lauren Vitti. For the Bachelor of Science Honours in Psychophysiology, Eloise Margaret Jean Cameron. Nicola Renata Jastrzebski. Lee Matthew Lawrence. Laura Jennifer McMillan. Andrea Philippou. For the Graduate Diploma of Science in Good Manufacturing Practices, Christopher Ian Hill. For the Graduate Diploma of Science in Cardiac Technology, Danica McAuliffe. For the Master of Multimedia, Damien Attard. For the Master of Science in Applied Statistics, Robert Maxwell Frew. Stuart David Terrell. For the Master of Science in Biotechnology, Romilla Roland de Mello. Thalini Upeksha Gamaga. Danusha Nilangi Hawanan Arakchilaga. Rasika Sudashani Kumarasinga. Swapnil Sin Rathod. Simin Dokt Reza. For the Master of Science in Cardiovascular Perfusion, Martin Craig Gill. For the Master of Science in Good Manufacturing Practices, Ankit Ashokbai Oza. Rita Ben Hishesh Kumar Suhagia. For the Master of Science Honours in Good Manufacturing Practices, Shabir Damani. Monica. Suryana Pillareddy. Parth Yogesh Kumar Soni. Chancellor, that concludes the awards for the Faculty of Life and Social Sciences. I now call upon Ms. Jessica Harrison, who graduated today with a Bachelor of Multimedia in Business Marketing, to speak on behalf of the graduates.
Chancellor, members of the University Council, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I'd firstly like to thank Swinburne for giving me this opportunity to thank and acknowledge those people who have helped all of us, the students, achieve what we have here today. On behalf of the students graduating today, I'd like to thank the staff of the university for their friendly assistance, support and guidance they've provided us throughout our years of study. We appreciate all you've done for us. While the experience of studying at Swinburne may have at times been challenging, it has also been very enjoyable, rewarding and memorable. We will all take with us skills and knowledge that will assist us in our future endeavours. For all of us, this is a very proud moment and something we have worked towards for a very long time. We are very proud to be here in front of you now celebrating our success. I'd now like to take this opportunity to thank, most importantly, all of our families and friends for their support during our studies. You've been there from the beginning, you've shared the same goals and kept us focused. So we thank you and we are very honoured to have you here today with us sharing this moment. And finally, may we have every success in whatever we do now, whether it be developing a career or continuing with our studies. Whatever we go on to do, I'm sure the knowledge, experience, and friendships we've gained during our studies will help us, whichever path we choose. Well done and good luck.
Jessica, thank you very much. To Swinburne graduates, I know that today is the culmination of years of hard work and that during this time you've had the encouragement and help of family and friends, so many of whom are here with us today, and of course so many, have come from many parts of Australia and from around the world. On yours and the university's behalf, I do wish to, in the most sincere way, thank them for their support of you while you've been studying here at Swinburne. There is no doubt that the success of these people in very much is a result of your support of them. We know that. I'm sure you know that as well, but I must say that it goes well recognised by us. So on our behalf, and I'm sure I'm also speaking on behalf of all of the students, can I say again how thankful we are that you've been able to support these wonderful people in the way in which they've studied here with us. Graduates, I'm now going to ask you to stand and then turn and then join with me in acclamation and applause to thank all of those wonderful people behind you that have supported you in such a wonderful way. Please stand and turn around and face them. Let's applaud them. Thank you very much, graduates. Please resume your seats. Graduates, I also think it would be remiss of me if I didn't also, on your behalf, take this opportunity to thank the teaching and administrative staff of the university for their contribution to your education here at Swinburne. Could I ask all of the administrative and academic staff to please rise? Graduates, please join me in thanking them. Very much. Graduates, I do trust that you will consider that this is really only just the beginning of the lifelong association with us here at Swinburne. I know it's become a bit of a cliche, but it is in fact true that education is an ongoing and continuous process. And I do hope that many of you will continue and return with us to study, to do other things that you might find important, either personally or in relation to your career. I'd also encourage you to participate in the activities of the Swinburne Alumni Association. The Alumni Association has operations in many parts of the world. It's there for you. It's there to try and support you as you move through your various careers. We've established it for you. So even if you're leaving Melbourne, this does not mean that you have to end your association with us here at Swinburne. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all members of the Swinburne community, I once again offer my deep congratulations to everybody who has received an award today. Well done, congratulations, it's been a wonderful achievement. I know for many of you it's taken a long time to get there. I know for some it's been easy, but for others it hasn't. And for every one of you, no matter what your experiences has been, you now have a qualification that nobody can take away from you. It is part of your DNA. And well done, congratulations. We are very proud of you. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal part of this Swinburne graduation and award conferral ceremony. Thank you very much again for being with us.
On behalf of the members of Council and the university community, I invite you to join us for refreshments, which will be served in the chandelier room on my left. Would you now please stand while the official party, academic procession, and procession of graduates leave the hall.
Swinburne University of Technology.